that made you feel like discotheque was really going to work? When did you snap that finger, call your mama? I mean, when was that time you're like, oh, we got it? Like, when was that?
You know, even till now, I don't know if there's like that moment, but in the very beginning, like year one, when my partners built like a demo app.
Yeah.
Like I took that demo app around Los Angeles and I knocked on doors and I demoed the app to a lot of like club owners and managers. And when they're like, this is a great idea. Like I've had this idea myself, but I never did it. And like, yeah, we'll work with DiscoTech when you build it. Like that was like oh shit, like this could like really work. And that's when we all decided to quit our jobs. When we got the confirmation that these like pretty hot, like these hot clubs, like these were like the big clubs in LA, when they're like, yeah, we'll work with DiscoTech. And again, this is just the very beginning. So we were naive and ignorant. We're like, oh my God, like we're going to do it. So we're quit our jobs and jump in. And, from that day on, like, I'm still like, again, we're like a real business. We're like profitable and like, we've been through a lot of shit, but like, you still just never know like what could happen. Like COVID 2.0 could happen and then we might be dead again. Knock on wood.
No, you're right.
You never know.
No, I get that. You're right.
Is there anything better than a trip getting ready? Nope. For a long journey where our podcast released a new Appy, searching for a fade fiending, new fixation. Giving this a subscribe is the same sensation. Started with the day ones, they gave us fuel to support the season. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here for a reason. Notification bells, text some friends, all to let you know. Check your Bluetooth, connect, talking with Donato.
On today's episode of Talking with Donato, we're joined by Chen, entrepreneur, tech innovator, and co-founder of DiscoTech, the app that's changing how people experience nightlife and live events. From exclusive club access to comedy shows, festivals, and even travel experiences, Ian's team is making it easier to party smarter. We're diving into the journey behind the app, the business of fun, and what it takes to build a nightlife empire from the ground up. This is Appy Hour with Chen. Party smarter, not harder. With our guest, Chen. Ian, thanks for coming on. This is going to be exciting, man. I'm so glad that we were able to connect here. Let's start off about DiscoTech and the nightlife innovation. What inspired you and your co-founders to start DiscoTech, and how did the idea evolve from open table for nightlife to what it is today?
Yeah, so we started DiscoTech back in 2013, so a while ago. One second, I'm going to close this door.
No problem.
Sorry about that, dogs.
Yeah, I got mine tied up pretty much. So the idea for DiscoTech actually came to us from the customer's perspective. So when me and my co-founder were in our mid-20s, we were going to the clubs and like going to music festivals. We were really into electronic dance music. And one day we had a really bad experience trying to book a table in Las Vegas with like a group of friends, going through like a traditional human promoter. We got the bait and switch. So we were promised something at like one price. We show up at midnight with our whole crew and they're like, oh, sorry, it's going to be double the price. And like, like we had no other options. And so we just bit the bullet. We got wrecked, we got reamed by the price. And I remember that night, like just no one had fun because we all felt like we just got taken advantage of. Yep.
So around 2013, like apps were like all the rage. People were building apps for everything. And so my co-founder was like, dude, there should be an app to make it easier for people to book tables because going through these promoters is whack. Yeah. So that was the thesis.
Oh, yeah.
So we quit our jobs. We built DiscoTech initially as a mobile app for booking VIP tables. And we got some traction. Like we were working with a lot of like big clubs and we were getting some customers booking tables. But, come year 3, we just weren't growing at like a fast enough clip where like we were going to like where it made sense. So in year 3, we made a very important pivot where we added the ability for our customers to purchase tickets and also sign up for free guest lists, which is a way to get free admission into clubs.
Yeah.
So instead of just servicing like the high-end VIP table clientele, we're now like servicing like the masses, the GA, the general admission crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a huge change for us, and like a very important pivot, because once we started offering like the free guest lists, like saving people money, like we really started to see our downloads like take off. Yeah, like it's really obvious in hindsight, like, you know, looking back on this, like, oh wow, if we give people free stuff, like they're gonna really like our product.
Yeah.
We got a lot of 5-star reviews. Customers were like telling their friends, like, hey, like get this app, you can get into these clubs for free. And like that was like the pivotal change for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then over time, we just continued to grow off that. So we moved beyond just nightclubs into music festivals, because we thought, hey, that's a very close adjacency. It's the same artists playing at the clubs that are playing at these festivals. It's the same end customer going to these clubs as these festivals. Yeah. And that was a very good move for us, because like it allowed us to grow our addressable market, and you know, our business grew alongside of that. And you know, post-COVID, COVID was really hard, and like we barely survived that. That was awful for our whole industry. But post-COVID, we are now doing other kinds of experiences, like you mentioned before, like comedy clubs, like cruise experiences. We have a partnership with like Cirque du Soleil, other theater acts. So we're really trying to move beyond just like the parties to like live experiences and things to do at night.
Oh, that's cool. How did you identify the biggest pain points in nightlife planning, and what features of DiscoTech are you most proud of in solving them? You started with your own personal. Were there other items that you had heard of outside, or was it just strictly that one experience?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't just jump into things. Like I might have like kind of rushed over the history a little bit. Like, so like we got the idea, and then like we definitely, like we were all, like we had full-time jobs, like we were working in different industries, like the 4 original co-founders. We asked, like we wanted to do our diligence first. So like we asked around, like we talked, like we found like club owners to talk to them, like, hey, do you think this would be like a cool idea if we built an app and helped you sell these tables on this app? Like, would you work with us? And they're like, that's a really cool idea. Yeah, like why wouldn't I work with you? I work with all these promoters. Like, I would love to work with you guys if you're going to do what you promised. And then we talked to other consumers, like, hey, have you had like a really bad experience like working with like a club promoter? And like, just like within like our group of friends and stuff, and like people are like, yeah, like I've gotten hosed by promoters before. So we're like, okay, so it's like, it's not just us.
So like, we
validated the idea and like built it on the, like, it was kind of like a side hustle at first. Right. But then like once we got like the clubs to sign on, like to agree to like work with us, like once they like said like, hey, yeah, we'll use your product, that was when we all agreed to quit our jobs and jump in full steam.
So especially after you guys quit your jobs, with DiscoTech expanding into comedy clubs, theater, travel experiences like Yacht Week, how do you choose which markets or verticals to enter next?
We tried to keep it as close to the core as possible first. Right. So our core initially was nightclubs. And then from there we, you know, did like pool parties and lounges and concert venues. And then it was like music festivals. Like that was like, you know, at the time it was like a little bit of a leap for us, because these clubs, they have events like every week, but the festival is like a once in a year thing. So we're like, is this going to work? And it did. And now it's like, oh, it totally makes sense. Like they're so similar. It wasn't that similar at the time. And, you know, a comedy club, you know, that's pretty similar. Like you're not listening to music, you're going to hear a different kind of artist perform, you know, a comedian. And, you know, like Yacht Week, like Groove Cruise, like these are parties on boats. Like, that's close enough too, you know? So we try to keep it close and then like move beyond there.
Okay. All right. I get that. I'm a little curious here. How does consumer behavior in nightlife and entertainment, how has that changed over the years? It sounds like you guys have been doing this for a while. You mentioned COVID. And how has DiscoTech adapted to stay ahead?
Yeah. So one of the reasons why we are, putting our eggs into like just the broader like live experience category is because after the pandemic, we have noticed a pretty significant decline in the nightlife market. So I mean like clubs, like nightclubs.
Yeah.
Gen Z is different than millennials. Like I'm a millennial. Gen Z doesn't drink as much alcohol. They don't go out as much. They have online dating apps. They got social media.
Yeah.
Right. Like they don't have to go to the club to meet people like we used to like 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah. Which shirt am I going to wear? I don't know what I'm going to wear tonight.
So like, technology has changed the game.
Yeah.
And like, I think nightclubs are suffering for that. Right. And so we are noticing over the last 10 years, a steady decline in nightlife, but we've seen over the years a growth in music festivals. There's way more music festivals today than there were 10, 15 years ago, like way more. Yeah. And so we're trying to, get on that bandwagon for sure. And then also try to, again, like put our eggs in other baskets in case nightlife continues to do. I obviously want the nightlife industry to do well. That's our core, but we have to be prepared for the worst.
You do. Yeah. What were some of the most pivotal partnerships or growth moments that helped DiscoTech scale to 1.8 million plus downloads and 2,000 plus venue collaborations?
Yeah, I mean, that was all just like slow and steady, like we've been working on that since 2013. I would say one of the biggest moves that we did was very early on. It was like year 2 or 3. We actually moved the team. So like our team of 4 co-founders, we were all still together back then. Now there's only 2 of us left, but we moved from LA to Las Vegas and we lived in Vegas for a year.
Okay.
Because like we wanted to sign up the big mega clubs and the mega pools, the pool parties onto DiscoTech. Yeah. And so like it was really hard to do that. And I think we were only able to achieve that when other apps couldn't, because like we were in Vegas, like meeting people and knocking on doors. So that gave us access to like the biggest market for nightlife, which is Vegas. Like that's no matter where you live, like people go to Vegas for, to party, and getting those mega clubs on our platform and getting access to like sell their tables, their tickets and their guest list really helped us become a lot more useful and valuable to our customers. Yeah. And so like we really differentiated ourselves from our early competitors, like 10 years ago, 9, 10 years ago. And that set us up for, further success down the road.
Wow. Yeah, I could see that. What does the motto "save money, party smarter" mean to you personally? And how does it guide your team's decisions?
Yeah. So save money is pretty straightforward. We try to help our youth. Like, look, it's not cheap to go out. Festivals are expensive. Clubs are expensive.
Yes.
We want to help people go out, have a good time without breaking the bank if possible. Yeah. So we are always trying to get deals with like VIP table packages, discounted tickets. Our guest list is free. Like you get free access to the club. Sometimes, you get a free drink, right? If you're on our list. So we're always trying to get exclusive deals for our customers to get them into the club, right? And we're helping the club too, because look, the club needs to fill its venue. They need people in the doors to get the party going.
Yes,
so
they do.
We're that promoter. We're that middleman. And then party smarter, that's like saving time. Just like rather than going online and like Googling or Instagram to see what's going on, you can see all the fun events happening on our app in one place. Like we have a calendar. You can filter for like the music types you like. You can favorite, artists that you follow. So we help people save time and like get to the right events that they're looking for. So the party smarter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you broke that down, because it just makes the rest of us just like, yeah, why wouldn't I use the app? I'm scrolling here. I'm looking at them on that website. This guy's got it all for us.
Yeah.
How do you balance offering value to both users and venue partners, especially when their goals may differ?
Yeah. You would think that like the venue just wants to like charge as much as humanly possible off the customer. And yeah, I mean, that's how they make money. But at the end of the day, most clubs and most festivals are not selling out their venue.
Okay.
Right. Like it's very rare to be like if they're that successful, they don't need to be on DiscoTech. Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of these venues, they offer like guest lists to their promoters anyways to like bring in customers to fill the venue. We're just doing that on like a scalable technological way. And at the end of the day, because we're reducing friction to going out, like we're making it easy for people to find fun events to go to that they might not have discovered in the first place. And like, because we're making it like a little bit more affordable, we believe that we're growing the pie, right? Like we're helping more people go out, which is good for the entire industry. Like that customer might not have gone out if not for DiscoTech. Oops.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, no, you're right. But we can't pass up a deal.
Yeah. and we use that deal as an incentive to like market their events. Just like Uber Eats, you know, if we have a deal, like you can filter for like the deal and you see that like deal icon, just like on Postmates and whatnot. So yeah, it's the same idea. Like these restaurants can always make more food and they give out deals so that they can sell more food. These clubs and festivals can always sell more tickets and they incentivize the deal to make those deals happen. It's kind of like booking.com. Like these hotels give deals to booking.com for the same reason. Yeah. We're like booking.com for like nightlife and festivals.
Yeah. All right, then. What's one unexpected lesson you learned about working with venues or festivals around the world?
Oh man, I mean, there's so many. There's like I could go on about this forever. Like working with venues in different countries, it's like you might not get paid. You know, there's like no recourse for like them not paying you. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, go sue them in their own country?
Yeah,
you know?
you're right.
Like, so that's definitely a challenge. It's a risk. You know, doing business with like we've had many clubs owe us money. You know, say they're gonna pay us, and then they're like, oh, they just went bankrupt. You know, so it's a tough business. There's a lot of churn and turnover in this business. Like certainly you have your iconic clubs that have been around for like 10, 20 years. A lot of clubs, like they're hot for 1 year and then all of a sudden one day they're like not hot. And if they owe you money when they're not hot, like you might never get paid what you're owed. So yeah, there's one thing about like starting a business and just like focusing on making people happy and getting more customers. And then as you become more mature, you have to be like, wait, we really need to like manage our receivables and our cash flow and make sure the money that we're owed is coming in. And yeah, you just have to button up.
No, you're right. You guys transitioned from private equity to tech entrepreneurship. What drove that shift, and what advice would you give to others considering a similar move?
Yeah, so prior to DiscoTech, I was working in like the private equity, like finance industry. My other two of my co-founders were software developers, so you know they built the app, and then my other partner was working like digital marketing at an online dating app. So we all had like different experiences that we brought to the table to start the company. We built DiscoTech because we believed in this product. Like we were just really excited to build this thing that like no one else was doing at the time. And we really thought that it could be like something big. It took us many, like we've been doing this for 12 years. So it certainly wasn't like, oh, or like, you know, I would have made way more money staying in like that line of work, but you know, it's not about the money. Right. Like I was stressed out and unhappy in that industry. And here I'm working with my buddies. Like we're building a product that we're all passionate about. We're helping people. We're getting a lot of like great reviews and recognition from our customers. And like, we're making the world a slightly better place. We're making it a more fun place. That's good.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, you know, when you factor in all like the intrinsic, you know, things, you know, it's been pretty rewarding for sure, like doing this. But I would say have a backup plan because like we almost failed like 3-4 times. You know, like we barely made it past the pandemic. We almost ran out of money like two times. Like, you know, like we worked without salary for multiple, like 2-3 years. You know, it was a lot of sacrifice along the way.
Yeah.
So, have a backup plan for sure before taking the leap of faith.
No, I can see that.
Yeah.
But so looking back, now that you kind of mentioned it, looking back, what's one risk you took in building DiscoTech that really paid off though, and one that didn't go as planned?
I'll say that we have taken a lot of risks on the product in spending, because software development time is super expensive. Software developers cost an arm and a leg.
Oh.
And we've taken a lot of leaps trying to build things that we think our customers will like. And, if they like it, they're going to use the app more and tell their friends. Like we built like a loyalty program for like VIP tables. Like that didn't really like pan out to anything. And we like totally deprecated that. Yeah. We tried to create like a smart way of recommending events to people instead of like having them like search for it. We tried to like, but hey, we think you'll like this, but that was hard and it wasn't working. So like that didn't work out, so these things are all huge investments that ended up being a fat zero. Yeah. But a risk that we took that really paid off, I mentioned it earlier, was we moved to Las Vegas. Like we left our friends and our network, and we like moved into a new city to try to get, expand. And that paid off huge. And I think if we didn't do that, we wouldn't have won, so like, that was critical, looking back.
What surprised you? What has surprised you most about building a consumer facing mobile app in such a competitive space?
I would say, so first off, this has been way harder and way longer than I, thought it would take. And look, we're still grinding and hustling. We're a profitable, real business now. Like we're not like a pipe dream anymore. Like I think we're like a somewhat mature, real, like we care about profitability instead of just like metrics like users and whatnot. I would say it was so much harder in the beginning than it took us like 3-4 years to even find like our initial product market fit. Oh, cause remember we got the tables, we were doing VIP tables, but it wasn't until we like started doing guest lists that like things started to click, but that was like, it was so early on in our career, but it was like, that was like 3 years in, that's still 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, it's a grind, man.
No, it sounds like it. Well, but you're really helping us to learn about the journey, man, because so many of us tap out starting new businesses. A lot of us have that entrepreneurial spirit, and those first 1 or 2 years, they beat us down. And here you guys are, 3rd and 4th years. You guys, that light comes on, and that helps you. 2 to 3 years?
Oh, sorry. Like we're 12 years in, but sorry, I cut you off.
Oh yeah, no, I just meant when y'all made that switch to the guest list. Imagine if you would have folded before you got to that and realized, oh yeah, this is working out mightily. So, well, I'm curious, how do you foster innovation within your team while staying focused on the user experience then?
Well, I think for us, all innovation is centered around the user, right?
Okay.
And look, like we've taken a lot of leaps to try to please the user that has failed, right? Like that the user turns out they don't care about, right?
No.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, we always try to put ourselves in their shoes. And look, we survey our customers, we talk to them from time to time. Like, what can we do to to help them save money or party smarter better, right? How do we help you party smarter, right? And so then depending on like those ideas, that's what drives innovation and changes to the product. What like at the end of the day, it's all about delighting the customer.
So you were talking about everyone had jobs, everyone had different experiences that they brought. You individually, how did your time at Bain and the Gores Group influence how you approach challenges as a founder?
Yeah. you know, as an entrepreneur, like the skills and the just like the day-to-day hustle, like you really don't learn it working at a big corporation or whatnot. Like certainly some of the skills were helpful. Like I learned how to make a really great pitch deck working as a management consultant and working in private equity. Like I was doing Excel sheets and like slide decks at like a very professional, like the highest professional level.
Yeah.
So like when it came time to like pitch the idea to angel investors and VCs, like I was well prepared to do that part because of my professional experience. But like the nitty gritty, the day to day, the sales, the getting people to like partner with you, just like the legal stuff, like you just figure it out along the way. Hopefully you have a mentor. Like I'm really lucky, like in my network and just meeting people, like I found like mentors who were more seasoned entrepreneurs who helped, like who gave me like really great advice and tips. I didn't always listen to them. And like, honestly, there's a lot of stuff I regret not listening to. But like they certainly were helpful. Like entrepreneurs know how hard it is. Like they're there that like, I'll talk to young entrepreneurs all the time. And like, cause I just want to help them because like, look, I've been there. I've had that trauma, you know, I want to help you like avoid that trauma if I can. So a lot of older guys like giving me like a lot of love. And I really was moved and appreciated by it. I get it now that I'm closer to like where they are. Like, I get it. Like, I want to help these people.
Yeah.
But now that there's AI, like, Jesus, I imagine that like ChatGPT like makes this so much easier. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What motivates, what I want to stay on you. What motivates you today? Like what keeps you excited to keep building and evolving DiscoTech? 12 years. I mean, yeah, it's a long time.
So first I'll say like the motivation has changed a lot over time. Like I'm still motivated, but like there are different reasons for the motivation. Like in the beginning, it was like, oh my God, this idea, like we're going to build it and it's going to be awesome. We're going to be rich.
Yeah.
You know? And then like, you know, that certainly has shifted. Like, I'm not trying to be like a billionaire. Like I've given up hopes of that. Like today, you know, we have a solid business and it affords us like a pretty, like, it's a good lifestyle. Like, yeah. You know, it's a business now. I certainly have constituents. Like I have employees, I have partners, I have investors. You know, I certainly want to make this thing a success for everyone who believes in me and trusts in me. Right. So that's important. But now we also have more users than ever. Right. And we're still getting great reviews from our customers. And like, if I meet someone and they're like, oh, like you started DiscoTech, like I love DiscoTech, like that's awesome. Like that's really rewarding. And I know now that like, because we have a bigger audience, we have more impact. Like the things that we do, we can help more people and do more like good things, help people save money and party smarter. You know, that's our way of like giving back to this world that could use more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's stay with me now. Let's give you all of the power. If you had all the power, we'll call it wishes, magic, wherever you go with it. If you could reinvent any part of the nightlife or live entertainment experience, what would it be and why?
Oh man, that's a really deep question.
Yeah.
My answer is going to be, may not be like that intuitive now.
No problem. Yeah.
But I would say one of the biggest problems plaguing the industry is how much top artists are getting paid. And I'm not saying they don't necessarily deserve it because, you know, it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
But the industry is tough right now. Like a lot of clubs are failing and going out of business, right? A lot of festivals are also feeling the burn. Like it's a tough economy right now.
Yeah.
And artists, you know, they demand a lot of money. They're like the only ones who are winning right now. Like these big top tier artists, like they're doing real well. But like no one else is really thriving because like they just eat up so much of like that pie. So much of that pie is going to these artists. And if there was a way to magically like balance it out a little bit better, I think like all the players in the ecosystem like be doing a little bit better, and that would potentially also feed down into like the customer, because tickets have to go up into these crazy prices to pay the artists. But now like tickets are getting like way too expensive, and like no one can afford to go out. And now like these businesses are collapsing on themselves.
Yeah.
So something's got to give. Look, I think the artists are going to feel it soon.
Yeah.
But like, it would be great if we could all just like balance it out a little bit more, and like everyone's a little bit better off except for the artists, but like they're getting paid like $500,000, $1 million a show, you know, for 2 hours anyways. So I think they'll be okay.
Yeah. No, they will. They could sacrifice a little for the overall entertainment experience for the rest of us. What do you think the future of nightlife and live events looks like, especially with tech continuing to play a bigger role?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like $1 million question for sure. Like, I don't think nightlife is ever going to fully go away, right? Like people will always want to have a place to go, to party, to let loose, and to like meet people, right?
Yeah.
Even though that there's like online ways to do that. Gen Z, you know, they're still, even though they're online a lot, like they're still down to have experiences. They spend more on experiences than goods than like millennials did. Right. So they'll go to these festivals and see their favorite artists and snap themselves like, hey, look at me. I'm cool. Like, here's the stage, and, you know, I'm relevant. So there's still that. They're drinking less. So like clubs have to find out a way to monetize beyond just like the bar, like selling alcohol, which was the number one way they made money in the past for like many decades. Like that needs to change. I honestly don't know what the answer is. That's like, that's a good question. It does have to evolve though. Yeah. We have to change the experience and figure out what works for the new generation, which is Gen Z. Yeah.
Let's talk about, I want to go back to the storytelling of your journey. What was one of the biggest we might not make it moments for DiscoTech, and how did you get through it? Like you said that COVID was a tough time. What I'd like to kind of maybe, I don't want that to be it, but what was the moment? Because you said I think you said 3 or 4 times you guys almost folded. So I want to go back, and I kind of want to know which, it doesn't have to be the biggest, but which one of those 3 or 4 times was it that we may not make it moments for DiscoTech, and how'd you guys get through it? I'm so curious.
Yeah, I'll say the second closest time we came to folding was the pandemic, right? Because our revenue went from being a profitable business, which took 9 years to build, to having 0 revenue because every festival and club was shut down for a year. Yeah. Right? So there's no money to be made in the whole industry. And all of our users, no one's using the app because there's nothing to go to. You can't leave your house. And we had to lay off more than half our team, including people who've been with us for many years. And that was super hard. We didn't know when this was going to end. We didn't know when we were going to run out of money. So that was number 2. Luckily we had some money in the bank. So we had some runway. The worst time was probably we were in year 3 or 4 of our business. I think year 4, even though we started to see some positive traction, we were still operating the business at a financial loss. And we were living off of funding, that we raised off of investors to support our business. And we came down to our last $20,000 or $25,000, which doesn't sound like a lot, but to we had to stop paying ourselves to be able to use that money to pay our employees. So the founders were okay, we have to stop paying ourselves. And one of our co-founders left. He's this is a sinking ship. I'm going to go get a job. And I don't blame him or fault him one bit for that. One of our other co-founders was I'm thinking about doing the same thing. And I convinced the other 2 co-founders, hey, let's just I looked at the data. I was we're actually showing really good year-over-year growth, because of the guest list. Yeah. If we actually do this for another 6 more months, we'll actually be in a decent spot. And I think we can raise more money. I left this bit out, but actually we were supposed to close on a round of funding about like $1 million when we had like the 2025K left, but our lead investor, like the lead VC, backed out at the last moment.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's when the other founder was like, I'm out. Like without that money, we're dead. So then we're like, hey, we'll gut it out. We won't pay ourselves. We'll try to raise money again with better metrics because of this guest list thing that has been helping all of our metrics. And it played out that way. We had a lot of growth that summer. We were able to raise like $1 million the next time we raised. And then, we made it past then. But like the three of us that stayed, we were like, hey, is this where we give up? Like this guy, or the fourth guy already bounced. I'm thinking of bouncing. And it came down to like we had that conversation and we decided to, give it another 6 months, and that worked out. Yeah. So that was the closest we came to folding.
Oh my God, Ian. I'm sitting here, I'm grinding my teeth. I'm like, they're not, I know the end story, but man, you painted that picture great. That's tough. Wow.
Thank you.
That's
we were in like a Burger King too, like when we were having that conversation, like a Burger King in LA that for whatever reason, its air conditioning was broken and it was hot.
Oh,
that was rock bottom for us.
Yeah, that's not making the decision harder, because you're like in that moment you just want to rush because man, it's so hot in here. It's no breeze. Are we done? Are we done talking?
That was rock bottom. Okay. And so it's been better from that moment on, but it could have very well just been like, yeah, fuck it. We're done. Let's just give up.
Then I want to follow that up, rock bottom. I want to follow that up with a time. Can you share a moment early on that made you feel like DiscoTech was really going to work? When did you snap that finger, call your mama? I mean, when was that time you're like, oh, we got it? Like, when was that?
Even till now, I don't know if there's like that moment, but in the very beginning, like year one, when my partners built like a demo app.
Yeah.
Like I took that demo app around Los Angeles and I knocked on doors and I demoed the app to a lot of like club owners and managers. And when they're like, this is a great idea. Like I've had this idea myself, but I never did it. And like, yeah, we'll work with DiscoTech when you build it. Like that was like oh shit, like this could like really work. And that's when we all decided to quit our jobs. When we got the confirmation that these like pretty hot, like these hot clubs, like these were like the big clubs in LA, when they're like, yeah, we'll work with DiscoTech. And again, this is just the very beginning. So we were naive and ignorant. We're like, oh my God, like we're going to do it. So we're quit our jobs and jump in. And, from that day on, like, I'm still like, again, we're like a real business. We're like profitable and like, we've been through a lot of shit, but like, you still just never know like what could happen. Like COVID 2.0 could happen and then we might be dead again. Knock on wood.
No, you're right.
You never know.
No, I get that. You're right. It's okay. Well, then, could you give us a behind the scenes story that people might not know about the grind of building DiscoTech?
So again, talking about things that are like really uncomfortable and bad and like horrible, like DiscoTech has been sued like 10 times.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Not
all of
them. That's a good one.
Bad. Sometimes they're all bad, but some are like, like they're asking for like a tiny bit of money and we can make this go away. But like, we've been involved and we're constantly getting hit up by like frivolous lawsuits where people are just trying to like shake the tree and see how much money comes out. Like that's most of the lawsuits. And now if I think about that, we've probably been sued more than 10 times. Frivolous lawsuits. Okay. But like one of them was really big because one of our partners, I won't name names, even though all this stuff is public news. Yeah. We had a large club partner that was discriminating against like men in San Diego where like they were giving free admission for girls, but not free admission for guys.
Oh,
They do this in lots of other, like, this is like super common. Like they do this in, Vegas, Miami, this is like, just like, it's super common in nightlife, but you can't do it in California. Okay. It's illegal in California. It's gender discrimination against men. And this club ended up like getting sued for millions of dollars because there was like a class action against them. You can't price discriminate based on gender in the state of California. Most states you can. But we were promoting that event on DiscoTech. Like, that club and those events were listed on DiscoTech. We were not doing any of the discrimination. Okay. Like we don't know what's happening at the door. Like, we're just like we're just like Yelp, we just put on some photos and we're like, this club is open and you can click on these links. But you can sue anyone in the United States.
Yes.
Okay. And so we were named as a defendant on the case. It was it's like a class action. So this is a big deal. And like, it was dragging for like a year and a half, 2 years. We'd already spent over $200,000 in legal fees.
Sheesh.
Okay. And now they want to like take this to like, court or trial or arbitration. And like our lawyers are like, look, you actually have like a pretty decent chance of winning, but how much they're asking you to settle is less than what it would cost to go to court and win.
Wow.
And so like we don't care about winning or losing. We just like, we like money. We don't want to lose money. So we obviously paid the settlement because like winning, but paying more money is really losing more.
Yes, it is.
So that costs us, hundreds of thousands of dollars, hard-earned, like that's a lot of money for like a startup, So
yes,
there's always that. And like when you go out and you start this company and you like want to go build a product and get it out and start serving people and helping people, you just never think about all this nonsense that's going to happen that you have to deal with. That's like, this is like pressing stuff to deal with. And that's like, you didn't ask for any of this. And sometimes it feels really unfair, Yeah. And sometimes people are just doing this to ambulance chasers and they're getting money out of this. And that's just the world we live in. So that's something I'd never expected.
Yeah. That's a good one. I didn't know it was going to be that juicy. How would you describe the culture you've tried to build at DiscoTech and how do you maintain that as you scale?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we've always been like a work hard, play hard mentality. Like, it's DiscoTech. Like we help people have fun. Like going to clubs and festivals is something that we as a team used to do a lot. And we're all older. Like a lot of us are older now, married, kids, whatever. And so like, there's certainly less of that. But I think the culture of, do what you got to do, do what is necessary. And then like, you can do whatever outside of that. And like, we're not going to judge you.
Yeah. What leadership qualities have you had to develop the most since becoming a founder?
I think that's the most important skill I had to learn and like actively work on is like being able to resolve conflicts with people, like handling like the court politics. Because there's always going to be people with differing ideas, disagreements. There's going to be beef. And like, I need to like lead the team to like move past that, to like squash the beef and to like try to get a resolution that we can all like live with. Right. And like, I certainly like didn't know how to do that in the beginning. And like, I learned through trial and error. Yeah. I think a skill that I naturally have that's really served me or was like super important in being a leader and like surviving as an entrepreneur is I'm a delusional optimist. Like, I just think things are going to work out. Like, I believe, even though it might not make sense. Like when COVID happened, I'm like, oh, this will be over in like 2 weeks. This will be over in a month.
Oh my God.
Like a month. And like, there's no way this is going to last more than 3 months. They can't close the government for 3 months. That doesn't make sense. They're like, like, we'll get past this. There's a light at the end of the tunnel soon. I was wrong. Like, that's what I mean. I'm a delusional optimist. I'm wrong a lot, but like, because I believe and because I like help other people believe, like you just go through it, and eventually there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like, I would try to be that way. You know, I'm not like, hey, how am I gonna like think like I'm just delusional.
We need that guy sometimes. Some of us we head straight towards doom and gloom, and sometimes you raise us out of it, Ian. Don't go change it.
I'm not trying to change that. Like, that's kept us alive, and I'm glad I'm a delusional optimist. I think you kind of have to be sometimes to be an entrepreneur.
Agreed.
But yeah, just learning how to deal with drama. That's like a big part of my job too.
Yeah. How do you build trust with users in an industry that's often seen as expensive or exclusive?
So I feel like we've done a really good job here, and this is why we have like close to 2 million downloads and a 4.9 out of 5-star rating on the App Store with like 10,000 plus reviews.
Yeah.
Is because when they use us, it works. You know, like when you buy that ticket and you get that $5, you see that $5 off on the checkout page, you're happy. When you sign up for the guest list and you're like, am I really going to get into the club for free if I show up? And you go and you give them your name and they're like, come in. You're like, oh my God, this is the greatest app ever. And so like, like, again, like this wasn't how we started the app. This was like a year 3, year 4 kind of thing. Yeah. But like hindsight, it was so obvious. We just got to help people save money.
What are some of the most surprising ways people are using DiscoTech that you didn't initially expect?
Well, I've found out that like a lot of just like people in the industry, like the people who like run the clubs in like Vegas and New York and Miami and LA, or even like our competitors, like the human promoters on the street, like they use DiscoTech as a tool to help them do their job. To be like, who's playing at like my competitor clubs? Okay, well, if they're going to play this, then I should maybe try to play something different, or I should, if they're going to go big, I need to go big too. Or, you know, like they're using DiscoTech as a resource to see what other like clubs are offering. So they know how to like, set their lineups and stuff too.
That's cool.
I get that feedback all the time, even though like, you know, I mean, look, the club owners and stuff, like they're my customer too. So I'm glad we're helping them out in that regard. That's not what we built it for. But like the fact that like human promoters who are technically my competitors are using it to make their lives better, like that's cool too. They give me props.
How do you gather and use that feedback from users to guide product development?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always important to like listen to your customers, and this is a double-edged sword, right? Because if you don't listen to your customers, you're not going to know what to build. But sometimes you listen to your customers and they just lead you completely down the wrong road. So this is a tough one because sometimes we ask our customers, hey, if we build this like loyalty platform, like, is this going to be valuable to you? Will you use it? And they're like, oh my God, totally. Like, I would love this. And then like we build it, roll it out, and like no one, like it gets like almost no usage, right? So but you gotta ask. You gotta ask the right questions, and you have to ask them in a smart, like data verifiable, testable way. And I guess we weren't always the best at doing that, so we wasted a lot of money building things that ended up being worthless.
Yeah, trial and error. Yeah. What's something most people misunderstand about the nightlife or live event industry, though? And they made like as an example, they may hold it against you. It was like, oh, well, why didn't you guys tell me that? Or I didn't know. Especially when they're giving you feedback, angry feedback, and you're like, hey, bro, that's not exactly how it works. And
yeah, I would say clubs have an air of exclusivity.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying some are not like legit exclusive. Of course, there are like truly exclusive clubs out there. But for the most part, if you pay, like you're going to get in. You know, like they need to pay their bills.
Yes.
You know, like, and it's hard. Being a club is a really hard business. Like people who start clubs, like I don't think they should do it to make money because it's really hard to be profitable as a club. And even if they are profitable, like again, like they have a life cycle. Like you're not hot forever. Like you're hot, you're less hot, you're not hot, you're out of business. Yeah. Like there's this like cycle with clubs. And you know, they let in people for free sometimes. They need to make money off someone to stay alive. So
yeah,
there's that.
How do you think AI or emerging tech could change the nightlife or event booking space in the next 5 to 10 years? You kind of mentioned earlier about ChatGPT. And so in the next 5 to 10 years, how do you think AI and emerging tech could change nightlife or event booking?
I mean, I think AI is going to change everything within 10 years.
Yes.
Like 10 years is a long time, especially probably by like AI terms. Yes. I think AI will definitely help people party smarter. Yeah. Could be good for us if we're leveraging the AI to do that. Could be bad for us if it displaces us. But yeah, AI can learn about what you like. It can know everything, all the songs you like, all the artists you like, what you like, just all your preferences, and be like, this is what you're going to do tonight. Like, yeah. Instead of like, hey, searching for events, like I help people party smarter by showing them all the events in one place and hopefully save them some time. That AI might be like, this is the event that you want to go to tonight. I know you the best and I know everything that's happening. Like, don't ask, just do this. Just go here. You know? Yeah. So, that could totally happen.
You've gone to a country club 3 times out of the last 4 times you've been out. Let's mix it up and go to. I like that. I like that thinking there.
It just knows.
This is why we ask you that. We have just a couple more questions here to be respectful of your time. We talked a little bit about what you've learned that you didn't know then. You're 12 years in now. What advice would you give your younger self back when DiscoTech was just starting? I'm giving you a time machine, Ian, although you better be back in an hour.
Yeah.
Which is weird, right? But I'm going to let you go back and talk to your younger self.
Yeah.
What advice would you give?
I mean, the first thing I would tell Ian, and this is crazy. I would say, I'd probably be like, look, you have what it takes to be like an entrepreneur. Like you've been through like some crazy shit in the next 12 years. Yeah. You should actually pick a different idea than DiscoTech. Like pick something with pick a bigger market, a bigger idea with better like unit economics, like something that makes more money. Because like if I sell, like my margins are low, right? So if I sell like $1,000 worth of product, I keep like 100. That might sound good, but it's actually not. Like most companies have like a 50% margin or better.
Sure.
Right? I would tell Ian, like, look, you have what it takes. Pick a better idea that can like make more money. If we were going to do DiscoTech, because look, it's been a fun ride and I've made a lot of friends along the way and, whatever. If we're sticking with DiscoTech, I would say, start with the guest list, start with the mass, start with something that can serve the most people, not just the few elite VIPs. Like they're hard to market to. Okay. Yeah. They don't need you. Start with the guest list, like that's going to get you users like right away. Everyone likes saving money, right? Start there. I would also tell him like, hey, make sure you just do all the basic like corporate setup and legal stuff, like the stuff that's not fun that no one wants to do and like no one knows how to do when you're in your 20s, but like, have all the right contracts in place with your co-founders, have a way to figure out how equity is like distributed and, taken back if someone quits, right? We didn't have any of that, like make sure your like stock plan is like boring stuff. Do all the boring stuff. I would definitely tell them to do the boring stuff. And then number 3 is when it comes time to start raising money, don't value like your equity that much, because it's really like you haven't done anything in the beginning. Like it's take as much money as you can get early on. That will help you be successful more than holding on to imaginary paper equity.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like we got some offers to like to get like cash in exchange for like some equity in the business. And I'm like, oh no, we're going to be like super valuable. So I'm not going to take your $100,000 now, because like, then that's like me giving you like $10 million. That was all nonsense. Like, real money is real money. Like, there's a 90% chance you're going to fail. Like, take the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last question. What's something that you've learned about yourself through building this company?
I mean, I learned that I am quite patient. Yeah. I mean, like, I've dealt with a lot of really mind aggravating things. I've gotten past it. And, you know, honestly, in a lot of ways, it's like the most challenging thing I've ever done, you know, especially from a professional perspective. And so, like, you know, like, yeah, I mean, it's what I would tell my younger self. It's like, dude, you got the chops. Like, you can take a punch. You know, I can take a punch. That's what I've learned. Like, dang, I got a chin.
Yeah. You got floored, but you got back up.
Yeah. It's hard to get knocked out.
Yeah. Hey, huge thanks to Ian Chen, everyone, for pulling back the curtain on the world of nightlife, tech, and building DiscoTech into a go-to platform for live entertainment. His insights on entrepreneurship, innovation, and creating great user experiences. This was powerful and inspiring. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, stay tuned for more real conversations right here on Talking with Donato. Ian, really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks a lot, Ian. And we're looking forward. We're looking forward to the next 12 years. We're all watching now. We're invested.
Thank you for the love.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks again.
Thank you.